Hi, and welcome to another edition of In the Paint. It's a Valentine's Day edition. Andy Barch here with AM 930 WEOL and 100.3 FM. Flying solo today, Marissa McNeese will rejoin me next week, and we will have a lot to talk about next week, breaking down the brackets on the boys' side with the tournament draw coming down the pike this past Sunday. And there's a lot to get into on the boys' side with just a week to go in the regular season. And of course, on the girls' side of things, the regular season is all wrapped up. And there are some tournament basketball games coming our way this weekend. So we have plenty to dive into on this week's edition of In the Paint. So let's get right into the boys' side of things. We mentioned that the regular season is coming to a close 1 week from today. And there are a lot of interesting basketball games coming up tonight. I mean, there's literally nothing settled at the top of the Lorain County League. Everything seems to change at the top of that LC8. So it's going to be a really interesting night tonight because there are 5 teams separated by just 1 game, and 4 of those 5 teams will play each other tonight. So this thing is probably going right down to the wire. Taking a look at the Division I Elyria Catholic District bracket, there was at least a little bit of a surprise there with that tournament draw this past Sunday. I think a lot of people were anticipating that Midview would be the top seed, but instead Lorain is the top seed. Now it's very possible that those 2 teams could end up meeting in the district title game, but that's certainly not 100% certain at this point, given all the talent and all the great teams that are involved in that particular tournament. So we're looking forward to seeing how all that plays out. But again, we'll dive a little bit deeper into that next week when Marissa rejoins me when we break down our boys brackets at the Division 1, 2, and 3 levels next week. As far as the girls go, regular season comes to a close. And a lot of things to dive into here as we get ready for the tournament games this coming weekend. And some congratulations are in order as well. For all of the conference champions, Elyria Catholic really kind of ran the table as we expected that they would in the Great Lakes Conference. Congratulations as well to the Firelands Falcons for claiming the Lorain County League crown on the girls' side. And congratulations to the Lorain Titans. They claimed a share of the Lake Erie League title as well. And also on an individual basis, how about Emily McLean of Open Door and Allie Ross of Columbia, the top 2 scorers in the entire area for the regular season too. So we'll have a lot to talk about here, especially as we get closer to some of these interesting district semifinal games, which should have a lot of Lorain County flavor as well. Taking a look at the games that are going on this weekend in tournament play, you'll have Amherst taking on North Olmsted, with the winner advancing to take on Avon next week. And you have another set of games that will be very interesting as well. And you'll have Clearview in action this weekend as well. It's going to be really fascinating to see what kinds of matchups we get in the middle of next week. Time now to take a look at our first Federal Savings of Lorain teams of the week. Now on the boys' side, I'm going with Elyria Catholic. Panthers have been terrific over the last 10 days, not necessarily just this past week. It began about 10 days ago when they took down one of the best teams in the state in Fairview, and they were able to parlay that into a couple of other really nice victories as well. EC won some very close games. They took care of Rocky River just a few days after they beat Fairview, and they followed that up with a victory over Parma. All of those games they won with single-digit margins, so they won some very close contests. And it seems like the Panthers are getting hot at the right time. So our first Federal Savings team of the week on the boys' side, the Elyria Catholic Panthers. And on the girls' side, I'm giving the nod to the Wellington Dukes. And even though they didn't capture the Lorain County League title, they came in second. And really the only other team that played better in conference play this year was the Firelands Falcons. So Wellington had a terrific season, and they've locked down the 4th seed in their tournament. And they'll be taking on a Warrensville Heights team that will certainly give them a battle. And the winner of that one more than likely will take on Elyria Catholic. So congratulations to the Wellington Dukes. But what a year they've had on the girls' side. I mean, I think we've talked a lot about Jalen Gibbs, and you've got to believe that she's certainly in the running for Lorain County Miss Basketball. She's had one of the best individual seasons. So certainly a name to keep an eye on as we go further down the stretch here. But those are our first Federal Savings of Lorain teams of the week. On the girls' side, Wellington, and on the boys' side, Elyria Catholic. All right, here's what's coming up on the airwaves of AM 930 WEOL and 100.3 FM. Tournament basketball means we have a lot on the air, and it begins tonight. We talked earlier about just how competitive that Lorain County League is on the boys' side. Well, tonight could have huge conference title implications because you've got two of the best teams in the conference going at it tonight. Should be really, really interesting this evening to see what happens in that matchup with the Clearview Clippers, who are playing as well as anybody in the county right now, taking on the Keystone Wildcats, who lost a couple of nights ago to Oberlin. That'll be one to watch for tonight. We launch right in to our girls tournament basketball coverage this coming Monday with all kinds of local flavor, with Elyria traveling to Lorraine. That game will tip at 7 o'clock this coming Monday, and then we get really busy the rest of the week on Tuesday. On the boys' side, it's a non-conference tilt featuring Avon and Lorraine, and that's a matchup you could potentially see in the Division I Elyria Catholic District Tournament 2 in the second round. So keep an eye on that. We've got a couple of girls' games coming your way next Thursday. We mentioned that a lot of these games kind of contingent on what happens this weekend, and our radio game next Thursday at the Division I Elyria Catholic District Tournament, the winner of Amherst and North Olmsted will take on Avon. Our Stream 2 game will put us out at Firelands High School. Falcons have had a terrific year, and they're going to take on the winner of either Fairview or East Tech in that Division II Elyria district. So keep an eye on that. And then next Friday, we will wrap up the regular season, our final regular season broadcast of the year, staying in that Lorain County League because there's a lot that can change between now and next Friday. But next Friday should be a great one with the Columbia Raiders, who have been near the top spot in the conference for over a month now. And the same can be said for their opponent that night, Keystone Wildcats. So that should be a great one to wrap up the regular season. And that, of course, comes your way next Friday. So a lot happening between now and next Friday on the airwaves of AM 930 WEOL and 100.3 FM. Well, that's going to bring this Valentine's Day edition of In the Paint to a close. Again, a lot to get into next week with the boys' brackets being unleashed this past Sunday, but there's still a lot that's unsettled in this regular season. So we'll let the rest of it play out next week. We'll have a ton to talk about as we get deeper into the girls' brackets as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun here over the next 7 to 10 days as the tournaments heat up. This is Andy Barch with AM 930 WEOL saying thank you again for tuning into this edition of In the Paint. Big thanks to all of you for watching. Our thanks to Kristen Bauer behind the camera for doing all the hard work in today's action as well. Marissa McNeese will rejoin me next week, but until then, enjoy the next week in Lorain County Hoops and beyond.